On yesterday's show, former acting U.S. Solicitor General Neil Katyal raised the prospect that impeachment was well within reason following the president's call with Georgia's election officials. Joining us now is someone who was on the front lines of the last impeachment trial as one of the Democrats' managers, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren. She is a member of the House Judiciary Committee and also chair of the House Administration Committee, where she will take part in the counting of electoral votes tomorrow. So, Zoe, where do we begin? I think, first of all, on impeachment, do you have an opinion on whether or not this would be a good time to go after the president on impeachment for what happened in that phone call?
I don't. The president has 15 days left in his term. Tomorrow, we will count the electoral votes that have already been cast. Joe Biden will win, and we will move on as a country. Obviously, his call was highly improper. I'll leave to others, prosecutors, judges, and juries, whether it was criminal, it was improper. But I'm focused on the Electoral College count tomorrow and the inauguration of Joe Biden on January 20th.
Having said that, what do you make of the challenges that Republicans are putting forward, still trying to contest this election and undermine and really vote against Joe Biden's election to the presidency of the United States?
It's unconstitutional. The 12th Amendment is very clear. The electors meet, cast their ballots, they sign them, they put them in a sealed envelope, and they send them to the Capitol. That was done in December, and those envelopes under the Constitution are to be opened by the vice president tomorrow and then tallied. I'm one of the tellers, so they will be read aloud and toted up. It doesn't say in the Constitution, we'll count them only if the Congress likes them. This isn't a parliamentary system. Every state in the Union has passed a law saying that the electors shall cast their votes for who won the popular vote. And that's what happened in every state. And that's Joe Biden won. Now, some of my colleagues are trying to, cast doubt on that, but this was highly litigated. There were about 60 cases. There wasn't any evidence that would have changed the outcome. It's up to those who had concerns to raise issues, and they did. There were recounts, in some cases, audits, 3 recounts in some cases, and the result remained the same. And so these kind of conspiracy theories on the internet fall apart because there's no evidence. Joe Biden won the election. The people's voices will be heard tomorrow when we open those envelopes sent to us by the electors when they met on December 14th.
As you say, Congresswoman, those Republicans who promised to stage this objection, and Vice President Pence as well, who says he'll participate in some way in their effort, they can't do anything to change the votes that have been certified in the states, and this is a formality. But does it change the way you all will do your business tomorrow? What do you expect it to look like? Because they have promised to bring this circus to Congress.
Well, the Electoral Count Act does provide for a challenge, and it's important to look at the origin of the Electoral Count Act. It was after there were disputes in Reconstruction. Dueling slates of electors were sent to the Capitol, and there were big arguments and a very disorderly process. And subsequent to that, the Electoral Count Act was enacted, and it's primarily to deal with the situation where 2 slates of electors are sent by the governor. That has not happened in this case. There's 1 slate that's been sent by the governor from every state. And so there's really nothing to adjudicate. It's done. And it's just up to us to count them. This is a political show, I think, by some of my colleagues. I don't understand why they're willing to undercut the Constitution and to engage in behavior that's really, I think, un-American for political reasons.
As you say, it's a show, but a show with real consequences for democracy. Congresswoman Mike Barnicle has a question for you. Mike?
Sure.
Congresswoman, you just mentioned this show that's being carried out for basically political reasons. I don't think anyone would disagree with you there. But as we have watched as a nation, we have been witness to lawsuits filed in various federal courts throughout the country, all with the same reaction and conclusion, some more angry among judges than others, calling them ridiculous, no proof, no evidence whatsoever. Over the weekend, we read the release of a transcript of a phone call from the President of the United States to the Secretary of State of Georgia. Included in that phone call was the presence of a fairly prominent lawyer in this country, attached to a large law firm in this country. And I'm wondering if you or any of your colleagues have stopped to consider or wonder, what is the American Bar Association thinking about all of these lawyers participating in these fraudulent lawsuits that take up so much court time, and including over the weekend a lawyer sitting there as her client right in front of her lies? Have any of you given any thought to the Bar Association's non-reaction to any of this?
Well, Congress doesn't have a role in that, as I'm sure you know. It's up to the bar associations and to the bench to take action. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the federal judges who heard these frivolous cases don't invoke Rule 11 and impose sanctions on some of the attorneys that brought these cases. But that's for them. That's not for the Congress to decide. If a lawyer participates in a crime with their client, obviously there are ramifications. I'm not saying that the president committed a crime. That's for someone else to decide. But if that were the judgment, there would be serious problems for the lawyer who participated.
All right, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, thank you so much. It's always great to see you. We appreciate you being here. And good luck in the new Congress.
Yeah.
It is going to be eventful.